applesauce, applesauce. Hands in our lap. Voices off. Thank you. Here's what we're doing in music today. First, we will move to music in a new way that we've never done before. Then we will discover the rhythm of the day. We will discover ballet. Some of you might know what that word is already. And we will discover some of the characters from Peter and the Wolf. So, on the screen is something brand new. I call these rhythm exercises. Rhythm exercises is a way that we're going to move our body to learn what the different kinds of notes, the different kinds of sounds we get when we study rhythms. I have a very brightly colored poster of this in the music room, but we're going to use this nice black and white one that copied onto my slideshow today. Up at the top, there are 4 different exercises. Jumping jacks, arm circles, mountain climbers, and squats. Those are the 4 exercises that I like to do with rhythm exercises because they are very rhythmic, which means you can feel the beat when you do them. For today, I would like everyone to do squats with me. So I'm going to stand up so you can see me a little bit better. To do a squat, you're going to put your hands in front of you. I like to kind of make a fist and wrap my hand around it. And then you just, almost like you're going to sit down, but there's no chair there. That's a squat. So everybody stand up. I'm going to go to the side so you can see it from this side. Okay. Everybody stand up and do 3 squats with me. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Have a seat for a second. Underneath those exercises, I have written and drawn the different kinds of sounds we can get when we study rhythms. The first one you see, which looks like a circle that's colored in and a stem, we call that a quarter note. It's worth 1 beat. We learned about that one, and in Primary Academy, we call that ta. The next one, it's a circle with a stem. The circle's not colored in. That's called a half note. That lasts for 2 beats. And whenever we say that, we say ta, ta. The one underneath that's kind of hard to read. It's just an open circle. We call that a whole note. Lasts for 4 beats. And whenever we see it, we go ta. And then the last one, my notes are kind of blocking it a little bit. Looks like 2 circles shaded in with 2 lines going up and 1 going across the top. So called eighth notes. They're worth half a beat. We see them, we say T-T. So here's how this works. We're going to do squats. We're going to do squats to the steady beat as we say everything that's on this sheet. This is the first time we've ever done it, so it might be kind of hard. So we're just going to follow along as best we can. If you can't say these words, that's okay. The most important part for us is the very last thing we say for each kind of note. So if I start by saying quarter note, 1 beat, ta, 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 that ta, ta, ta thing is the most important part for you, okay? So I want everybody to stand up. We're going to do squats as we do it, like that fist. And for now, I just want you to do the squats with me and feel the beat. And if you can read some of these words along with me, great. If you can't and you just listen to my voice today, great. That sounds wonderful. All right, here we go. Quarter note, 1 beat, ta, 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 ta. Half note, 2 beats, ta, ta. Whole note, 4 beats, ta. Eighth notes, half a beat, T, 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 T. And we're done. All right, you can have a seat for now. We're going to do that every day, probably at least till winter break. So if that was tough for you, you can go back, reverse the video and listen to it again and try it again with me. Or just give it as a goal to yourself next week to learn it really well. All right, we're moving on. In our rhythm of the day today, we're going to learn a new sound. So we learned ta last week. Ta is just a line that goes straight up and down. We learned tt, which is two lines straight up and down and one going across the top. Looks kind of like a table from the side. And then the next one looks like a zigzag. We're going to call that sh, sh. It means we don't make a sound. But as we're learning it, we're going to say sh out loud to remind us that if we were playing or making music, sh, it would be silent. So we have ta, we have tt, and we have sh, a zigzag. So here's our rhythm of the day. We're going to say it, we're going to clap it, and we're going to speak it and clap it at the same time. So the first thing I see in our rhythm of the day is the one that looks like a table, tt. Then I see a ta, straight up and down. Then I see that new one, looks like a zigzag. That's our sh. And last is our ta. So Mrs. Alice is going to do this really slow. I'm going to do it one time by myself, and then you're going to do it one time with me. It'll sound like this. I'm going to clap it and say it. Mrs. Alice by herself. T, T, ta, sh, ta. Did you notice that when I said shh, my hands went apart like that? That's what yours should do too. All right, say it with me. Here we go. T, T, ta, sh, ta. Let's do it again. Ready, go. T, T, ta, sh, ta. Now we're going to do a repeat. We're going to do it 4 times through. So after we get to the end, we go back to the beginning and do it again. Here we go. T, T, ta, sh, ta. 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 There we go. We're going to keep working on rhythms of the day. All right, last time we had music, we started talking about Peter and the Wolf. I read you a very quick story. I read through the story again, and I made the story as short as I could. So here's a review of the Peter and the Wolf story. In case you didn't watch our last video and you missed it, then you won't feel behind. So first thing that happened was Peter was out playing in the meadow. He met his friends, the bird, the duck, and the cat. The bird and the duck argued because they thought that they were the better kind of bird, and the cat tried to catch the bird. Peter's grandpa came and told him he had to stay inside the locked gate. He thought being out in the meadow was too dangerous because there were wolves around. But Peter disobeyed his grandfather and he went to the meadow anyway. He and his friends met a hungry wolf. After the wolf chased them, the wolf swallowed up the duck whole. You could still hear the duck quacking inside the stomach of the wolf. Peter caught the wolf by the tail and tied him to a tree branch. Hunters came to help after the bird went to find help. Hunters came, but Peter had already saved the day. He had the wolf all tied up. Now, in the story, we read the duck was still swallowed up whole, but if you went above and beyond and watched that story, we saw that the duck hid behind a tree. So sometimes the story of Peter and the Wolf can be kind of different. So that's what we talked about last time. Then we listened to some different sounds, which we're going to review in a second. But first I wanted us to talk about ballet. Now, some of you might maybe take dance classes and you already know what ballet is. Great. Some of you might have just seen ballet before. Great. So I wrote up a list of things that I think are important for primary academy scholars to know about ballet. And then we're going to have a special way that you can extend your learning beyond Mrs. Isles and her music video today. So here's the list of things I wrote. I wrote, what is ballet? I wrote, it is a dance. You move your body around. The second thing I wrote is that it tells a story. When it tells a story, usually no words are spoken. People don't talk when they do ballet. It tells a story by the way that the dancers move their bodies. So let's practice that for a second. Still just sitting where you are, using just the top half of your body, your arms, your hands, your head. How would you dance in a happy way, just sitting down? How would you dance in a sad way, just sitting down? How would you dance in an angry or mad way, just sitting down? Feels kind of goofy, but ballet dancers are trained to do that, and they can tell a story and they can tell how they're feeling through the way that they move their bodies, just like we just did. The next thing I wrote was men must be strong. You can see a man in that picture I posted right in the middle wearing the black outfit, the black shirt. Men have to be strong because a lot of times in ballet, they will pick the women up and hold them high above their head. They have to be able to lift a whole other adult person. So they have to be very strong. The women are usually very graceful as they dance. They wear fancy costumes. If you can see in that picture, the man has a lot of bling, a lot of glitter and shiny stuff on his shirt. And the women are wearing what are called tutus quite often, big skirts. And they wear those big skirts because it helps show all their crazy movements. Dancers go to special schools that are just for people who want to learn ballet. And they have to train for many years. So if you want to be a professional ballet dancer, you have to work very hard. Probably start maybe when you're at primary academy or elementary academy, start taking dance lessons so that by the time you're grown up, you can be super great at ballet. It takes a lot of work. In big letters at the bottom, I wrote, ballet tells a story through dance. Ballet tells a story through dance. Ballet tells a story through dance. That's the most important sentence, the most important thing to remember about ballet. Ballet tells a story through dance. Okay, in our last video, we listened to some of our characters. The first one we listened to was Peter and the Wolf. Peter from Peter and the Wolf, and he's played by the string section. Sounds like this. Well, I listened to a little piece of each one. Then we listened to the sound of the bird, which is played by the flute. Sounds like this. Then we listened to the sound of the duck. That's played by the oboe and sounds like this. And then we listened to the sound of the cat, played by the clarinet. Sounds like this. Today we're going to listen to the other characters in Peter and the Wolf. So the first one is Grandpa. And Grandpa is played by the old bassoon. If you look at that picture of Grandpa, you see that he is just as tall as that bassoon, and that's pretty true. A bassoon is a very big instrument. It also sounds very low when you play it. Grandpa in the story is, I don't want to really say he's grumpy, but he's kind of grumpy. So I always think that when I hear the sound of a bassoon, it sounds kind of grumpy, like Grandfather was when he caught Peter playing out in the woods. So let's listen to what Grandpa and the bassoon sound like. Sounds pretty grumpy to me. All right, so whenever Grandpa comes into the story, you'll hear that bassoon sound. Then we have the wolf. The wolf is played by the sound of the French horn. Mrs. Isles played the French horn when she was in school and still plays it sometimes today. When we are back on campus and we are all in person, I'm sure there will be a day when I bring my French horn in for all of you to see. The French horn is a brass instrument, and when you play it, you can see in that picture with the wolf's air will go through all those little tubies and comes up that big bell part that he plays. I always think that the wolf sounds kind of dangerous when I hear the sound of the French horn. So every time the wolf comes, like when he is gobbling up the duck, or when he's chasing the bird around the tree, or when he gets caught by the tail by Peter's rope and he's trying to get away, you will hear the sound of the French horn. Let's listen to the sound of the wolf played by the French horn. Sounds a little spooky to me. All right, that is the sound of the wolf. The last sounds we have are the hunters. They are played by the timpani. The timpani is also known as the kettle drums. It is a very large drum, and usually when you play the timpani, you don't just play one. Usually you play 4 is what I see a lot of bands play. You play them all at once. The hunters actually kind of have 2 sounds. The first sound has kind of timpani in the background as the hunters come up. After the bird goes to find help, brings the hunters back, they play this sound. They sound very brave, I think. And then the second sound that comes with the hunters is the sound of their guns as they are playing, and that's when you can really hear the sound of the timpani or the kettle drums really well. It sounds like this. Here we go. Okay. So those are all the different characters in Peter and the Wolf. In the description in this YouTube video below, I'm going to put this wonderful link to the ballet of Peter and the Wolf. And remember, ballet tells a story through dance. So in this video, you're going to see characters who are dressed like a duck and dressed like the wolf. You also see other dancers who are not any of these characters, and sometimes they are the grass, and sometimes they are the water in the pond. And you can see ballet being done. Now, the story of Peter and the Wolf in the ballet version is a little bit different because it has a narrator. A narrator is someone who tells the story as the other characters do their thing. So if you want to extend your learning and learn more about Peter and the Wolf and see it in action, click the link in the description below, and you'll be able to watch the ballet of Peter and the Wolf, which is one of my favorite things ever, and I hope you do that. The last thing we have to do today is our train exit. So breathe with me, Primary Academy. Here we go. Thank you for listening and making music with me today, and I will see you next time.